So Rob, obviously stress is a major cause of all sorts of problems for men and women, but can you tell us what stress is and how it comes about in the first place?
Yeah, well, stress is what happens when we're faced with a situation that we're not able to handle well or handle at all. So what causes it? General things, problems with our family, problems with relationships, problems with work, money worries, all these things that cause us anxiety and indeed stress. And the thing that people, I think, don't recognise often enough is that stress is a normal response. What's not normal is letting it get on top of you and not dealing with it.
Okay. Now, what actually happens to the body, though, when someone gets severely stressed, would you say?
Well, the body gets flooded, essentially, with the stress hormones. So adrenaline, for example, that makes the heart beat faster. It gives us the butterflies in the stomach. It moves blood towards the muscles, basically ready for what's traditionally called the fight or flight response. So this comes back from sort of caveman days when you're faced with a dinosaur. What do? Do you stay and fight it, or do you run away? The flight section. Nowadays we don't, of course, have dinosaurs, but we have minor things that cause the same reaction. We may get approached in the street by somebody who we're not sure about. So what do? Do we stay and deal with it, or do we run away? And that's what their hormones are doing. They're preparing the body to respond. That's why often you find that somebody who's in that situation wants to go to the toilet, either to open their bowels or to pass urine, because the body's trying to get rid of any excess that it doesn't need in order to perform well. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's why you get that sort of feeling, that sensation. That's why people, when they're doing exams or before interviews, are to and fro into the toilet because of the response of those hormones.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's almost when we forget what my next question was. So Rob, what can people do themselves to reduce stress? What would you recommend as a doctor?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is to recognise that we all suffer with stress to some degree. So I'm always questioning of people who say, "Oh, I don't have any stress." If that's your response to the question, then you're denying it. You're holding it in. We all have stress. And you need to recognise what it is that's causing you the stress and what might be indicating you've got stress. So you get physical symptoms, you get emotional symptoms, you get social symptoms. So for me, when I'm stressed, for example, I get a tightness around my eyes. And I know that means, Rob, okay, my brain is telling me that I'm stressed, I need to do something about it. Okay. I'm sure you've got symptoms that when you're feeling under pressure, something happens. Yeah. So we try and recognise our individual symptoms, so we know we're stressed, and then we need to do something about it. Okay. So identify what's causing the stress and avoid it if possible. So is it that you're always late for a meeting? In which case, think about rescheduling the meeting for a different time in the future. Is it that people keep interrupting you? In which case, explain to them, look, you've got something busy, you're doing something that's on a deadline. Would they mind not talking to you for another half an hour until you say that you're clear of that deadline? And then if you can't avoid things, then stress is going to come at you out of the blue. And I like people to have what I call instant distressors. So that might be a sponge ball, that might be music, that might be a book. Something that you can reach for immediately that distracts you from the stress. It relaxes you and it puts you in a better frame of mind to actually deal with that stress. Okay.
And when would you say maybe it's time to get help if it has gotten out of hand?
I think if it's affecting your quality of life, if your symptoms are, so you're getting palpitations, you're feeling lightheaded, you're getting lots of butterflies, or from an emotional point of view, if you're feeling lethargic, anxious, or you're feeling depressed. And from a social point of view, if you're responding to the stress by smoking, drinking loads of alcohol as your means of trying to deal with the stress. Or if somebody says to you, look, why don't you go and seek help? I mean, in Men's Health Awareness Week, the focus is actually talking about the problem and recognising, particularly for men, and men are notorious for burying their heads in the sand and saying, oh, I'm immune to stress, or I can deal with it. But the theme is talk about it and actually acknowledge that it's okay. It takes guts to ask for help. The easy option is to ignore it and hope it'll go away, but it doesn't, it gets worse. And the NHS offers all sorts of advice. There's self-help books which can be obtained through the Books on Prescription scheme. There's online counselling, CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. There's one-to-one counselling, there's loads of stuff.
Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show.